Hiya guys, I'm going to be doing a video today which is a little bit different compared to some of the other videos I've done, because I've done videos on makeup reviews, I've done videos on vaping, I've done a lot of other videos, but this video is going to be speaking about horror films, because I'm a huge fan of horror films, especially paranormal horror films. I do like a bit of gore now and then, but all the horror films I own are based on paranormal and ghosts and demons and all that sort of lovely stuff. But I'm just gonna go through some of my DVDs and some of the films I've seen and talk about them and do reviews. I'll have a review of like stars and say why I've given it that star rating and how scary I found it and how much it like got to me, kind of thing, because like these films are supposed to get kind of underneath your skin. That's the whole point of horror films. They're supposed to horrify you. And I like the fact that you get like an adrenaline rush from some of these films, and they're quite fun to watch because you get scared. I like to get scared. It sounds stupid, but yeah. The first one I'm going to talk about is The Conjuring. I'm going to do that because otherwise you can't see the thing, but you can see like the cover, which is pretty damn creepy. And obviously the film that followed on from this is Annabelle, and I have got that. I will be talking about that. But basically, it is based on true events, so it's based on truth. Apparently, depends on how skeptical you are, but it is based on truth. The Conjuring tells a thrilling story of ghost hunters Lorraine and Ed Warren, who go to a family who are terrorised by dark entities playing havoc in their farmhouse. So basically they move to this new farmhouse, and after a little while of moving there, they have these creepy things start happening, and they basically start hearing things and stuff like that. And like, I think in the film they go to bed one night and in the morning they wake up and the clocks have stopped working on like 3 o'clock in the morning, which is supposed to be the awakening hour or something. It's supposed to be like the most spiritual time of day, or night, sorry. But it's supposed to be like the time when like that sort of stuff comes alive. Excuse the pun, but you know what I mean. Sort of that sort of time, like I think it's between 1, 2 and 3 is where like creepy stuff is supposed to happen, if it's going to, kind of thing. And it's more likely to happen between that time, or I think it's between 2 and 3, or like 3 and 4, I don't know. It's around that sort of the wee hours of the morning. But this film is good. It has got some jump scares in it. So if you're not a fan of kind of going woo in films, don't watch it because it's quite jumpy. But then again, I think that adds to some horror films because it's kind of the adrenaline of like being made jump, and I like that. I think that's quite fun, especially if you're watching it with someone else, because you can kind of laugh about it. If you are faint-hearted or scared easily, I wouldn't watch any of these films, really. It was basically a film where this house has like a dark entity in it, and I'll tell you some of the scenes which I remember from it because they're quite scary. One of the scenes I remember is where this woman, the mother of the family, the mother of the kids, and the lady of the house, is like in the house. I think she's on her own, I can't remember. Oh, excuse me, I think she's on her own, and the basement door opens. So, you know, why is that door opening on its own? So she goes down, and then the door slams shut, and she can't get it open again. So then she tries the lights in there, and they're not working. So she sits down on the seat, the step near the top, and she gets her matches out, and she strikes one on, and then this is the scary part, and then as she strikes it on, literally as she strikes it on, there is a next to her ear, and she hasn't got anyone else down there with her, and as soon as that happens, the light goes, the match goes off, and then someone opens the door to let her out because she starts screaming. So yeah, that's quite intense. That scene is quite intense. It's quite quick and it's over quite quick, but it kind of builds tension. And there's another one which will make sense of the clapping, because I should have said this one first, but they have a game in this house which I think's based on hide and seek. They go round and hiding, and the children, and then the person who's seeking asks them to clap. So every time she says clap once, and then she goes around to where the sound is, and then, you know, clap twice, and she goes where the sound is, and then third time she has to try and like find them, because it's listening, it's sound. They have their eyes covered, sometimes shut, or sometimes covered by a scarf. And then in this bit of the film, she's playing hide and clap with her little girls, and the clapping, it sounds like completely genuine, but it takes her to a completely opposite side of the house where she is. It takes her to one of the bedrooms, which they aren't in or even near, and she goes into the bedroom, and she's like, I know where you are, and she's going around the bedroom, and then the closet, the wardrobe door opens, and these hands come out, and they're like that, and she goes over to the wardrobe, and she is looking, and, you know, she's feeling, because she's got her eyes still shut, and then she realises there's no one in there. So that's quite scary. And then after that is the scene in the basement where she has to clap near her ear. And then they get these Ed and Lorraine Warren to come, which are supernatural investigators kind of thing, and they come and they find all these creepy things. And then near the end of the film, the mother ends up being possessed, trying to capture the little girl, her youngest daughter, and stuff like that. And there's also a lot of other creepy things in between, but the end of the film is basically where the Ed and Lorraine Warren have to do a exorcism on her, and they get rid of it, and it's all okay in the end. Peace is reunited to the family, and it's all okay in the end. But there's a lot of creepy things in between, a lot of creepy scenes, from like the past experiences of the Warrens and things like that, and a lot of stuff that builds the tension, a lot of stuff that makes you jump. I'm not going to go by the rating that is on here or anything. I'm going to give it a personal rating, and I'd give it... I'm going out stars. I'm going to go from like 1 star to 10 stars. I'm not going to go for 5 stars. I'm going to go 1 to 10 stars. So I'd give it about... Actually, I'm going to go 5 stars. I would give it about 4, because out of all the films I've seen, it's not the scariest. But I would say the storyline is fairly good. It's pretty samey to a lot of other ones I've seen. But I would still give it about 3.5, 4 stars, because it's a good storyline, it's an enjoyable film, it's a film I would watch over and over and over again. I do like this film, and yes, it's still in the packaging, but I had seen this film a few times before I bought it, or got it for my birthday. Yeah, like 2 birthdays ago, and I've still not opened it. But yeah, it's really good. Shit. I would recommend it if you're into like the creepy, paranormal, demonic sort of storyline. That's kind of going to give you the chills, and make you watch over your shoulder. And you know, it's quite scary. It does scare you, but I think it's one of them films that if you're used to horror films, you can watch and kind of brush off. So it's not too bad, but it's quite intense and scary when watching it. Right, next one. I should really go for Annabelle next, really. That's the next one along the line. But yeah, this is Annabelle. You probably saw that, you might have seen the doll in the woman's arms on the first cover, and this one has been opened because I've watched this. I saw this one in the cinema, Seeing a horror film in cinema is totally different to watching it on your DVD player at home. But yeah, this is my little Annabelle film, and you can see that it's just got a mega creepy doll on it who is Annabelle, and there is a real Annabelle in the world, and it's in America in a proper museum of conjuring things, which are demonic possessed objects, and it's in America, and there is a real Ed and Lorraine Warren, and they own this place, and you can go to America to visit it. But the real Annabelle looks totally different to this. It's made to look scarier for the films. The real one looks just like a rag doll, basically. Right, this film, basically, a gift is given to her. This man gives a woman, his wife, a doll, Annabelle, and you know, Mia, a beautiful, rare vintage doll in pure white wedding dress, is what she's supposed to be, but obviously we all know she's Annabelle. But basically, Annabelle comes out after not too long, and it's one horrific night, their home is invaded by members of a satanic cult who violently attack the couple. They come in the home, and the woman at the time is pregnant with her baby, and they come in and they sort of trash their house and are really creepy and attack the woman and stab her in her stomach. But they also like go in their bedroom and the woman sitting on the rocking chair with Annabelle, which is the picture on the front of the other one, which is strange. Spilled blood and terror are not all they leave behind, because after that is when the creepy stuff to do with Annabelle happens. Yeah, so basically, after they leave, Annabelle starts causing havoc, real havoc, and is demonic, and the things she does and the mind tricks she plays are crazy. For instance, there's some really creepy scenes in this. It's quite hard to follow unless you're actually watching it intensely, but there's some really creepy things that happen. The doll moves, the doll does some creepy things. For instance, in one scene, the woman there's this creepy stuff happening, and this woman goes to the baby's cot, and it's Annabelle in the bed, and then she throws Annabelle out, and then it appears that it's her baby she's thrown across the room, and then she freaks out, and then when it comes to the truth, it's actually just a doll. It's not Annabelle, it's not her baby, it's just a doll, which is like fucked up mind trick, which is really creepy. And when you first watch it, you're like, has she just thrown her baby across the room? You really think. This film is very twisted. It's got a lot of twists and turns. It messes your mind up. You have to watch it to really understand it. It's very complicated. It's got a lot of mind twists and turns. It keeps you on your toes. It keeps you wondering and wanting to know what's going to happen next. It has a lot of scary scenes in it. Some of it can be quite disturbing. I wouldn't recommend it for someone who is easily scared or doesn't like dolls. I hate dolls, but I was okay with this because it's I think I'm more scared of dolls now. I've started to watch horror films more because they're put into such a scary limelight that I'm just like, I can't stand China dolls or anything like that. But yeah, this film is good. It's not very similar to The Conjuring, the original one, but it's kind of got some stuff that was brought up in the first one, and Ed and Lorraine Warren are brought up in this, I think. And it's like the curse of Annabelle, and it all starts by him getting this doll for his wife, and she has like a collection of vintage dolls and stuff like that. In all fairness, I wouldn't have wanted this doll in my house because she looks scary anyway. But basically, Annabelle, the demon or whatever she is, the dark entity, is living inside of this doll, and some creepy, horrible stuff happens alongside it. That's all I can really say, because this film is really complicated to try and explain, but it's got a lot of twists and turns, it's got jump scares, it's got things which make you think one thing and it's another. It tricks you a lot, and you have to watch it to really understand it, and you have to really be concentrating on it to follow it too. It's got a good storyline to it, but it's very complicated, but in a good way. It keeps you wondering, and I think that's a good thing. It's not very predictable, I don't think. It's one of the horror films which I've watched and wasn't as unpredictable as I thought. So for that reason, I'm going to give this a 4.5, because it wasn't very predictable, and it had a lot of twists and turns in it, and a lot of mind tricks, and it always made you think, was that real? Was that not real? What's happening with this? What's happening with that? How is this going to end? How is this going to go? And I think that's really good. And it also got a lot of scary scenes in it, a lot of jump scares. It does keep you on your toes, does kind of get you quite scared. So I'd say 4 to 4.5 stars for this. It's quite good. It is a film that I have watched a couple of times. I would recommend it for people who love horrors and like to be scared, but for people on the opposite scale of it, I wouldn't recommend it for someone who's scared easily or doesn't like to be scared or to be freaked out or think. I wouldn't recommend it to someone who would let these things play on their mind. But yeah, it's someone that's gonna get like proper like nightmares and stuff from it. Right, the next one I'm going to... Shit, I just dropped it. The next one I'm going to go for is a very demonic film, and it is based purely on demonic possession. But it's called The Devil Inside, and the picture on the front is extremely haunting, to say the least. Basically, this one is a whole different ball game compared to the one I just showed you. I'll show you the pictures on the back, which will give you some idea. Basically, it's based on this girl has a mother who, a story is like this woman killed some people in the 60s or 80s, I can't remember, something like that. And I think it was like the 80s or something like that. And she killed these 3, like, I think it was like a priest, a nun and someone else, while they were trying to do a exorcism on her. And she was then taken to court, and then she was deemed mentally ill with like mental illnesses, and then she was put into a mental asylum, but then she was moved to Rome, a mental asylum, and basically she was... it was 1989 she killed someone. But basically she was... 20 years later, her daughter Isabel searched for answers. Basically, she goes to Rome to visit her mum. And she goes to Rome and goes to a couple of demonic lessons, and she meets 2 people there, and they're like, you're not going to learn anything from going to these lessons. You're going to have to see a real exorcism. So they take her to this Roman lady's house with her daughter who's possessed, and you see them do this exorcism, and it is very graphic, and it doesn't sugarcoat it at all. It's very documentary like, and it is scary, and it is disturbing to watch, but it's also quite interesting at the same time. But basically, yeah, this girl here is the girl that they cure in the end. But basically they try and cure her from it, take it away from her. But you hear her talking in different voices. You hear her like undislocate her arm and all these things. It's very... It's very oh my god kind of thing. When you're watching it, you're like, Christ. Yeah. It shocks you, and it is scary, it is disturbing, some of the things you see in this film. It's not for the faint-hearted at all. And also they try and cure her mum, and in the end they end up getting some of the people, like the priest here, the priest in the film, who is her friend who's trying to help her, ends up getting possessed, and he was in the middle of doing a christening, and he nearly tries to drown the baby that he's doing it on, and then he ends up in their house and he goes a bit loopy and he ends up shooting himself in the head. And then it's one of a demon that can like move about, and it like then took over one of the others. And then yeah, it's all about possession and like exorcism, and it's called The Devil Inside, so it's kind of a clue. But you see a lot of like possession and you see a lot of exorcism, and it's very real. I think it is based on truth, but I'm not sure. But it's very documentary like, and to be fair, I'm still not sure if this is truth or not, but it's a very documentary styled film. It's very creepy. It's disturbing, in all fairness. The things you see in it, the things you hear in it. If it's kind of a very modern and much more scarier and unfiltered version of The Exorcist, but it's a lot worse. But if you're brave and you feel that you can watch this and can handle it, it is a 15. I do think it should be an 18 personally, because you know, contains strong supernatural horror, blood images and very strong language, which it does. And the language, I wouldn't have said, is one of the bigger problems, but you have to not have a faint heart, and you have to be able to watch extremely disturbing things. But other than that, I would say it's quite a good film. It opens your eyes to this sort of thing, and it is interesting but scary at the same time and fairly disturbing. But it's an enjoyable film. There's not really many jump scares, but it's one of these films that get underneath your skin more. It's not really it's less of a fictional one. It seems very, very real, and it's documentary style, so it's that sort of film. And it's very interesting but scary and disturbing, but it's very real. There's nothing in it it's very documentary style. And if you are brave enough to watch it, and I mean brave because this is one of the scarier ones I'm showing, then I would recommend it if you are open to that sort of thing. You know, open-minded enough to watch it. You know, it's very scary and very disturbing. I'd give it a 5-star because it's one of the most disturbing and horror films I've seen, and it's very different to all the others. Obviously it contains demonic possession, and it's paranormal, but it's based very much on like a documentary style. There's not much fictional part of it. It's very realistic, and I think it is based on truth, and it's disturbing. It makes you wonder what's going to happen. It grips you, even though it's really disturbing and scary. It grips you. If you're interested or enjoy this sort of thing, I would recommend it. But other than that, I probably wouldn't say to watch this, because I don't know, it's for certain people, but if this sort of thing really scares you, then I wouldn't. But if you can watch it without it bothering you, then I would recommend that. I'm going to try and shorten this video. I'm just going to do a couple more because I've just realised I've been rambling on quite a bit. I'm just going to go with some of the other ones I really like. The Woman in Black, a much more lighter film. One of my favourite horror films. I absolutely love this. It's basically based in England. This Daniel Radcliffe, who plays it, Um, I love Daniel Radcliffe, he's a great actor. It's based on a story written by Susan Hill. I read her Woman in Black book, that was fantastic. The film is so good, I love it. Seen the screenplay of it as well, that's great. Basically, it's quite a jump scary horror film, and it's on the lighter side of things, but the storyline is fantastic. That's what grips me, it's the storyline. Basically, it's about this house in the middle of the marshes in England. Does it say where it's based? But this guy goes to this village and has to go to this house, and the woman in black, is said that if you see her on the grounds, in the house, in some horrific way, a child will die. And throughout the story, he goes to the house, tries to collect all the info of the lady who died there. It's not the woman in black who died there that he's collecting the info, it's her sister. But he goes there, and tries to collect the stuff, and everyone's telling him that he should go and not go to the house and just leave and everything like that, and it's all mysterious, and you as a viewer you're kind of like, what, and kind of that, and slowly the more times he goes there, the more like stuff happens, and it's just full of like really creepy things that happen and a lot of jump scares. And it's one of them films that you kind of on the edge of your seat and kind of you want to know what that noise is, you want to know what that was, and you want to know why people want to stop him going there. But the sad thing about it is every time he comes back to the village, he always comes back when there's something going on. Like for instance, the first time he goes and sees her, a little girl drinks some poison and she dies, and the second time he goes, this girl sets herself on fire. It's very traumatic, and it is sad because of the children, but the storyline is immaculate. It's fantastically written. Susan Hill horror books are very good anyway, but this is one of her best one. This is based on her novel. I don't know if that says it on here, but yeah, it's basically based on her book, and her book came out before the film. She wrote the book and then the film was based on her book, and the book is really good, it really grips you, but so does the film. It's one of these, the storyline, it's not just about the scare, it's the storyline and the story behind the woman in black. It's just immaculate, and it's fantastically played as well. And basically he's in the village for like a week, and he goes to the house and creepy things happen. He sees a woman, he sees the son that she lost in the marshes. He hears some scary things. I'm not going to give away too much of this film because I think it's one of them films that you need to watch without knowing too much, because it's one of them films that is just fantastic, but it's better to watch it not knowing too much. There is some jump scares in it, I will say that, so if you're going to watch it, be prepared to be made jump, because when I saw this in the cinema my head nearly hit the ceiling, I jumped that much. But it's one of them films that is just, it never gets old. The storyline of it is fantastic. It's scary, but it isn't like so scary that it's unwatchable. It's one of them sort of horror films that it's more, I like it more because of the storyline than the scare. It is scary and it has got a creepy side to it, but the storyline is immaculate. It's just got such a gripping storyline to it. I would definitely recommend you watch this. It's on the sort of the less sort of, I would say for like someone who's not into the real demonic and whatever, really scary horror films, but does like a bit of a sort of a scary film, but on the lighter side of things. I'd say this is one of the lighter ones, and the storyline is very, very gripping. Once you're into it, you just can't stop watching it, like the book. Once I started reading that book, I cannot put it down. I'd recommend reading the book of The Woman in Black as well, and I would definitely recommend I would recommend seeing the screenplay as well, because that was immaculately done. It was some fantastic. And then I'm gonna do. Actually, I think I'll leave it there because I've spoken quite a lot. But I love horror films. I just love some of the storylines that they come with, I think, and like the things you see in them, and the like creatures you see in like Insidious and things like that, and Paranormal Activity, which is based on kind of like home videos. I love the idea. You know, the paranormal scares the hell out of me, but I love watching it because I find it kind of thrilling and exciting and scary at the same time. But that is all for now, because I've spoken nearly 31 minutes about horror films. I know I'm passionate about it and I enjoy them, but not everyone's going to want to listen to this video for that long, or watch me just sitting here talking. But if you could leave me a comment below what you feel about horror films, whether you like horror films, whether you dislike horror films, whether you can't watch them because they give you horrible nightmares, what your favourite horror film is, if you like any of the ones I've spoken about or don't like them, or think they're rubbish or whatever, I don't care. I'm not doing a promo of them, I'm just putting them out there saying they're one of the ones I like. My other, probably my other two favourite, which the storyline's immaculate and really well done, Insidious 1 and 2. I can't really go through the DVDs of it and explain it and all that because I've been talking long enough, but I would definitely recommend watching Insidious 1 and 2 if you haven't. Storyline's immaculate, there is some really scary scenes in it, jump scares, fantastic. But yeah, just leave us a comment below what horror films you like, what ones you don't like, how you would rate these films compared to me, because it's all personal preference here. Also, what films you like if you don't like horror films, what sort of films you like. Just get involved in the comments below, give this video a like if you've enjoyed it, if you're into horror films, and subscribe to me because I'll probably do some reviews on some of the other ones which I haven't got to do, and at some point, and maybe do some reviews on some games which I own as well. So yeah, I'm going to try and do some different reviews apart from like makeup ones and stuff like that. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video and would like to see if I'm going to pop up anything else that might interest you, give us a subscribe, like, comment, whatever else you want to do. And I hope you enjoyed this little, well, I say little video, I babbled on for ages. But yeah, for now I'm going to end this video, and it was nice talking to you about my passion, horror films, and I shall talk to you soon. Bye!